Hi everyone, good evening to all of you. Today I am going to discuss a new paper to you which is relating to business law. Here we are going to discuss a new chapter, that is Bailment and Pledge. Relating to that chapter, we are going to discuss the definition of a bailment, essential elements of bailments, different types of bailments, and the rights and duties of Bailor and Bailee, and in relation to pledge, what is pledge, what are the essentials, and what are the different rights and duties relating to pledger and pledgee. So we will discuss one by one. Listen carefully. So what is bailment? Section 148 defines bailment as the delivery of goods by one person to another person for some purpose upon a contract that they shall, when the purpose is accomplished, be returned or otherwise disposed of according to the direction of the person delivering them. The person delivering the goods is called as the bailor. The person to whom the goods are delivered is called as bailee. The transaction between bailor and bailee is known as bailment. So section 148 of the Indian Contract Act defines bailment. Bailment means delivery of goods from one person to another for some purpose, and there must be a contract made between the two parties, that means from whom the goods are delivered to whom the goods are delivered, or from whom the goods is going to deliver, or who delivers the goods to the party to whom the goods are delivered, and this is based upon some purpose, and when the purpose is fulfilled the goods must be returned back, or when the object is fulfilled the goods must be returned back or according to the direction of the person that is delivered to another. So here there are two parties, one is called as bailor, another one is called as bailee. The person who delivers the goods is known as bailor, to whom the goods are delivered is known as bailee. The transaction between the bailor and bailee is known as bailment. So clearly we define that section 148 of Indian Contract Act 1872 that defines bailment. Bailment means delivery of goods by one person to another, and that must be some purpose, and the contract to return after use or to dispose as asked by the person who deliver the goods. Bailor, who gives or who deliver the goods. Bailee, who takes or to whom the goods are delivered. Bailment, the transaction made between bailor and bailee. So here we discuss the details relating to bailment. That means bailment is defined under section 148 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, and bailment is based upon delivery of goods by one person to another, and bailment is based, or the delivery of goods is based for some purpose, and when the purpose is fulfilled the goods must be returned back or otherwise disposed of according to the direction of the person who delivers the goods. And the transaction between bailor and bailee, that means bailor who delivers the goods, bailee to whom the goods are delivered, and the bailment, that means the transaction between bailor and bailee. So there are certain examples relating to bailment, that means hiring a bicycle, giving cloth to a tailor, delivering watch for repair. For example, suppose X who wants to prepare a blazer for him, so he purchased the cloth and deliver to the tailor for stitching or for repairing or to make a blazer. So that means the cloth is delivered to tailor. So X deliver the goods, X is here called as the bailor, and the tailor to whom the cloth is delivered, that is called as a bailee, and the goods or the cloth is delivered based for some purpose. The purpose is to make a suit or a blazer, and when the tailor complete the suits or blazer, then the tailor return back the goods according to the direction of the person X or according to other when X instruct any command. So there are different types of example. Delivering watch for repair. For example, my watch is having some problem and I want to deliver or I want to repair that watch, so going to a watch shop and deliver that watch and saying that these are my problem, then the mechanic will repair it and deliver it to me when the repair is complete. There are some essentials of bailment. So first one is goods. Bailment can be effected only with respect to goods. So we already discussed that bailment means delivery of goods. So only movable goods taken into consideration during the time of a transaction of a bailment. The second one is delivery. Goods delivered, that must be for some purpose. Without delivery of goods, there is no bailment. So delivery of goods by one person to another is essential. Delivery includes physical delivery, constructive delivery and symbolic delivery. Physical delivery, that means when goods physically transferred to another. For example, I want to make some jewelry. So in that case, I deliver some gold to a goldsmith for preparation of a chain or a ring or any other ornaments. So in that case, that is called as physical delivery. That means the goods or the gold is delivered by me to goldsmith. So this is known as physical delivery. But constructive delivery, that means suppose X wants to deliver certain goods or X deliver certain goods to Y and Z is another person wants to take the goods from X. In that case, X instruct Y that please deliver that amount of goods to Z. So this is known as constructive delivery. Or next one is, that is symbolic delivery. So there is one example, it is mentioned, the key of the godown with the goods in it when handed over to the buyer will constitute a symbolic delivery. That means I am having owner of certain amount of goods, the goods are kept in my godown, there is one buyer who wants to take the delivery of certain amount of goods. In that case, I deliver the godown key to that particular person who wants to buy. So this is known as symbolic delivery. That means the key is delivered to that particular person who wants to buy and the buyer take the delivery of the goods by opening the godown and take the goods in his own custody. So these are the three different types of delivery of goods. The third one is to be returned without demand unless agreed otherwise. That means the goods are delivered for some purpose. When the purpose is fulfilled, that must be returned to the person who delivering the goods, or according to the direction of the person, that must be handed over to the other person. The fourth one is in species. That means the same goods are to be returned, not equivalent. The goods which is originally delivered, when the purpose is fulfilled, that same goods is returned, but not the equivalent goods. The second one is including any accretion. When the goods are delivered for some purpose and when the purpose is fulfilled, if there is any increase then or any accretion, so with the original goods, the accretion or the increase amount must be returned by the person to whom the goods are delivered. So in case of a bonus share or in case of a calf born to a cow, that means suppose X deliver a calf to a person, that is Y, and during the time of keeping the calf by Y, the cow born a calf. So in that case, at the time the purpose is fulfilled, Y must deliver the cow with the born calf. The calf is accretion or increase. The increased amount of goods or accretion, if any, that must be delivered by the person to whom the goods are delivered. Then we are going to discuss different types of bailment. The kinds of bailment based on benefit. Bailment for the exclusive benefit of one is Bailor, that means who deliver the goods or leaving goods in safe custody without paying. To Bailee, that means a loan of certain article like a pen, that means to whom the goods are delivered. And the third one is mutual benefit, that means when there is a contract made between Bailor and Bailee, so in this case the transaction is known as bailment. So it is for the mutual benefit of both Bailor and Bailee, contract of a hiring or a repair, etc. Then another one is based on a reward. In this case there are two types of bailment. One is gratuitous bailment, second one is non-gratuitous bailment. So in case of a gratuitous bailment, neither Bailor nor Bailee is entitled for a remuneration. Example, lending a book to a friend. That means when bailment is based upon without any reward or without any remuneration, in that case that is known as gratuitous bailment. Suppose my friend wants a book from me and I deliver that book to my friend, and when he completes the lesson plan, then the goods or the book is delivered to me. So this is not based upon any reward or any remuneration. So this is known as gratuitous bailment. But in case of non-gratuitous bailment or bailment of reward, where the bailment is based upon certain reward or remuneration, that is known as non-gratuitous bailment. Either Bailee or Bailor is entitled for remuneration, that means hire or tailor. For example, I wants to prepare a shirt for me and deliver some part of cloth to a tailor. So when tailor prepares my shirt according to my measurement, he deliver back or return back that shirt to me, and my duty is to pay the stitching amount to the tailor. So this is based upon reward or remuneration, and that is called as non-gratuitous bailment, because it is based upon some reward both by the bailor as well as bailee. So in case of a bailment, there are two parties, that is bailor, another one is bailee. So from bailor point of view and bailee point of view, there are certain rights as well as some duties. Now we are going to discuss the duties of bailor. The first one is to disclose the faults in the goods bailed. This is mentioned under section 150 of bailment, or that is mentioned under the section 150 of Indian Contract Act. So the bailor, that means the person who deliver the goods. So at the time of delivering the goods, the duty of a bailor must to disclose everything relating to the goods to the bailee. That means if any defect is there, any problem is there, so at the time of delivering or before delivering the goods by the bailor to the bailee, the bailor duty is to disclose everything or the known defects which is aware by the bailor to the bailee. This must duty have to be followed by the bailor. The second one is to repay necessary expenses, which is mentioned under section 158 of Bailment Act. So to repay the necessary expenses, that means in case the goods are delivered to the bailee and a bailee having no power to make any type of expenses, but if any problem is there and a bailee to make it in good stage make incurring certain amount of expenses, so at the time of delivering back or return back the goods to the bailor, bailor duty is to reimburse all the amount of expenses to the bailee. The third one is to indemnify bailee, which is mentioned under section 164 of Indian Contract Act, or as per the bailment. To indemnify, that means to recover, or the bailee having the right to recover the amount from the bailor, or bailor duty to indemnify the bailee. Suppose X is the bailor, deliver his motor car to Y on hire basis, and at the time of riding that motor car by Y incurred certain amount of problem, and by knowing that problem X does not disclose. In that case, when Y suffers any type of a problem, in that case that amount of expenses which is incurred by Y, the X must indemnify that amount of expenses, because this is the negligence of the bailor. So due to the negligence, he or she must have to indemnify the total amount of expenses incurred by the bailee. To receive back the goods, the duty of a bailor is to receive back the goods. That means when the purpose is fulfilled or accomplished, in that case the bailor duty is to return back or to receive back the goods, because the complete contract is made or the purpose is completed or it is fulfilled. The last one is to bear normal risks. In certain cases, bailor is entitled to bear certain amount of risks which is not in the control of the bailee or beyond the control of bailee. So the normal risks must have been bear by the bailor. That is one of the duty of the bailor. So these are the different points which we have already discussed before the slide. That means to disclose the faults in the goods bailed, only known faults where bailment is gratuitous, all faults including not known but existing at the time of a bailment in case of a non-gratuitous bailment. Then the duties of bailor to disclose the faults on the goods bailed. The second one is to bear expenses. In case of a gratuitous bailment, all expenses ordinary or extraordinary. In case of a non-gratuitous bailment, only extraordinary expenses. The third point, to indemnify for loss caused because of a defective title. That means if bailor having no title of the goods, having no ownership of the goods, but he must deliver or he deliver that goods, in that case whatever expenses is made by the bailee, that must have been indemnified by the bailor. Then the fourth one is the bailor is under a duty to receive back. As soon as the purpose is fulfilled, the bailor is under the duty to return back the goods or receive back the goods. And the last one is, it is the duty of the bailor to bear the normal risks, loss, deterioration or destruction of the things which have bailed, and if Bailee has taken reasonable care. That means after taking reasonable care by the Bailee, if any destruction, loss or deterioration is there, the Bailor is entitled to bear that amount of normal risks. Then we are going to discuss the person to whom the goods are delivered, who is known as Bailee. In relation to that, there are certain duties. That the first one is to take reasonable care of the goods bailed, which is mentioned under section 151. So Bailee's duty is to take as much care of the goods which is bailed to him as a man of ordinary prudence and under different circumstances, because the goods are delivered for some purpose. So he having some duty, and the duty is to take reasonable care, utmost care. Not to make unauthorized use of goods, that is mentioned under section 154. Not to mix goods with his own goods, that is mentioned under section 155. Duty to return goods, that is mentioned under section 160 and 161. Not doing any act inconsistent with the terms of the bailment, that is mentioned under section 153. Returning any profit, which is mentioned under section 163. So to take care of the goods bailed, that the first point, the Bailee is entitled to take as much care of the goods bailed to him as a man of ordinary prudence. Second point, not to make any unauthorized use of goods. The Bailee is not to make any unauthorized. That means he is not the owner of the goods. The goods are delivered to him only for some purpose. So he is not make that I am the owner of the goods, or he cannot re-deliver to another person and take money for his own benefit or profit. So that is unauthorized. Under any circumstances, Bailee is not to make unauthorized. The third one is not to mix Bailor goods with his own goods. So the goods are delivered by the Bailor. So under any circumstances, the Bailee is not under the duty to mix the Bailor's goods with his own goods. And if the Bailee mix the goods with his own goods, then there are two circumstances: with the instruction of the Bailor or without the instruction of the Bailor. If with the instruction of the Bailor, the Bailee mix the goods with his own goods, then the proportionate share will be contributed by both Bailor and Bailee during the time of separation. And without instruction of the Bailor, if Bailee mix the goods with his own goods, in that case the total amount of expenses for separation of goods will be borne only by the Bailee. Then to return the goods in specie, the goods which are actually delivered by the Bailor to the Bailee is returned back the same good, not equivalent good, the same amount of goods or the exact goods which are delivered, that must have been returned by the Bailee to the Bailor, but not the equivalent goods. Then we are going to discuss the rights of Bailee. What are the rights? The first one is right to compensation for loss on account of a fault in goods bailed, which is mentioned under section 150. So Bailee having certain rights, and this right is to compensation for loss. That means if Bailor makes any problem, in that case Bailee suffers any amount of loss, so Bailee's right to recover that amount of loss. Then right to receive necessary expenses, which is mentioned under section 158. So if Bailee incurred any amount of necessary expenses, in that case the right is to recover that amount of expenses from the Bailor. The third one is right against premature termination of a bailment. The goods are delivered for some purpose and for specified time. If before mature time the goods are returned back by the Bailor, in that case the Bailee has the right to sue or to get necessary compensation from the Bailor. Right to compensation in case of a defective title. If Bailor having no title or ownership of the goods and he delivers that to the Bailee, in that case Bailee suffers any problem, so Bailee's right to receive back the amount of a compensation. Delivery of a goods to one of the joint owner. If several joint owner of goods are there, so deliver to one means deliver to all. Right against third party. If any third party is there making claim that he is the owner of the goods, in that case Bailee has the right to check who is the actual owner, and if the third party is not the actual owner, he can make compensation or he can make complaint. Then we are going to discuss the rights of Bailor. First right, that is right of indemnity for loss due to negligence by Bailee. That means if Bailee having any negligency relating to the goods which are delivered to Bailee, in that case the Bailor has the right to receive all the amount which have been made by the problem made by the Bailee. The termination of bailment or on inconsistent use by the Bailee, that means the Bailee to whom the goods are delivered, and when the goods are delivered to the Bailee, if Bailee without any permission from the Bailor re-deliver to another person and saying that I am the true owner of the goods, in that case if any information is taken by the Bailor, so during that situation the Bailor has the right to file a case against the Bailee, because he is going to make a problem that he is the true owner, which is not right. The next one is compensation for unauthorized use by the Bailee. Bailee having the duty to take as much care. He is not making any unauthorized use of goods. He cannot make demand that I am the true owner. So when he makes any type of that problem, in that case Bailor has make compensation to the Bailee due to unauthorized use. Compensation when Bailee mixes the goods bailed with own goods. So when goods are delivered to the Bailee and Bailee without instruction of the Bailor mixes the goods with his own goods, in that case the total amount of compensation for separation will only borne by the Bailee, and this is the right of the Bailor to get the total amount of compensation during the separation of the goods. Right of return of goods back. So Bailee has the right to return back the goods as soon as the purpose is fulfilled by the Bailee. Right to profit from goods bailed. So when goods are delivered to the Bailee and during the time of a bailment any increase or any accretion or any profit is made, so with the original goods the profit amount or the increased amount of goods must be returned back by the Bailee, or the Bailor has the right to get back the original goods with any increase or accretion is there. The last part of bailment relating to termination of bailment, that means when bailment comes to end. So there are different grounds. The first one is doing an act inconsistent with the terms of the bailment, which is mentioned under section 153. So that means the bailment means the transaction made between Bailor and Bailee. So if there is any inconsistent with the terms of the contract made by the Bailor and Bailee, in that case both have the right to terminate or discharge from each other. The second one is at the desire of the Bailor in case of a gratuitous bailment, which is mentioned under section 159 of the Indian Contract Act. So gratuitous bailment means without any reward. Bailor deliver the goods without any reward, and in that case when Bailor having demand to get back the goods, so before fulfillment of the purpose or objectives the Bailor take back the goods, and in that case the bailment is terminated. On the expire of the period, so bailment is based upon for some purpose and for within certain specified period. If that period is over or the purpose is fulfilled, in that case the bailment comes to end. So that is mentioned under section 160 of the Indian Contract Act. On accomplishment of object, when the purpose is fulfilled or the object is fulfilled, the goods must be returned back or bailment comes to an end. That is another ground of termination of bailment. And the last one is death of the Bailor or Bailee, which is mentioned under section 162. So if Bailor or Bailee any one dies before termination of a bailment, so in that case also bailment comes to end. So this is all about relating to bailment. In the next class we will discuss relating to pledge. So in case of a pledge, the definition of a pledge, what is the basic difference between bailment and pledge, and who is known as the pledger and who is known as the pledgee, and what are the rights and duties relating to pledger and pledgee. Everything we will discuss in the next class. Thank you all. Have a nice day ahead.